Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Typhoon's Partner Spotlight webinar series. Today, we are joined by some new friends of ours at Moxtra, and we're going to begin this webinar here in about 2 minutes. So we're going to give it a few minutes for others to join, get their audio settled. We'll be right back in about 2 minutes to kick things off. All right, we're going to go ahead and get things started. So again, welcome to another edition in the Typhoon Partner Spotlight webinar series. Today, we are joined by some new friends of ours, Neal at Moxtra. And Moxtra is someone that we have been working with over the last few months now to enable some really cool new features that you're going to get an opportunity to see today. So Neal is going to be talking to us a little bit about Moxtra's OneStop app and how it provides a private communication hub with an all-in-one suite of in-app collaboration services. So some really exciting things and some things that I think could actually make a really big member-facing impact, especially given the challenges that we're facing today. So Neal, welcome. Thank you for being here. One quick thing to note before I turn it over. The GoToWebinar does mute all attendees. So if you have a question, we ask that you post the question in the questions text section. So it's the little bubble with the question mark. If you type your questions in there, at the end of the webinar, I'll jump back in and I will read questions aloud to Neal and allow him to answer them. So again, Neal, welcome. Thanks for joining us. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Josh. I appreciate the introduction, and I'm happy to be here in Typhoon Spotlight webinars. As Josh mentioned, I think I have a pretty good presentation that will be relevant to kind of the interesting environment that we're all kind of in right now. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I'm excited to tell you guys about it. As Josh kind of preluded, what we offer is a one-stop application for you to manage all your business interactions in one place. And we see this solution being, a great way to respond to the current environment, mainly because, obviously everyone's remote and you need kind of a consolidated business solution to manage all the interactions with all the people in your business, whether they be, your clients, your credit union members, but also all the bankers and staff that work for you within your organization. A little bit of background on me personally, and thanks for the intro, Josh. My name is Neal. I work on the solutions team at Moxtra. I've been working here for about 5 years now, and I have quite a bit of experience, working with a lot of our financial services clients. And I'll try and weave in, some of the examples and learnings we've got from working with them over the last couple of years. A little bit about our background, as we actually have a pretty rich heritage in the collaboration space. Our CEO and co-founder, Subra IR, was actually the former CEO and co-founder of WebEx Communications, which I'm sure a majority of you are familiar with and have probably used in your day-to-day business lives. And his vision back in the early 2000s, when he actually founded WebEx and sold it to Cisco Systems back in 2007 for around US 3.2 billion, was to revolutionize the way people were doing business back when the laptop and the desktop was first coming about. But now, in 2012, we decided to found a new company, Moxtra, that was more so focused on, kind of the mobile trend, or the mobile device that was rapidly becoming the primary point of communication for most consumers. And if you look at mobile, you use mobile a little bit differently than you use other methods of communication, like you would, let's say, a traditional video conferencing solution. On mobile, you actually use it intermittently in short, frequented bursts. You pull out your phone, you might send a couple texts, send a couple messages, interact with someone, shoot off an email, and then put your phone away and kind of move on with your day-to-day life. And so we wanted to architect a solution that kind of seamlessly matches the way consumers prefer and expect to use their mobile devices, on demand, seamlessly, at any time, from any place. And we don't view the mobile device as a replacement for the desktop in any way. It's more so kind of a complement, enabling your clients and your organization members to interact with you irregardless of where they are. And if you look at this, kind of this shift towards mobility, right? There's a lot of different applications that consumers use in their day-to-day lives that have kind of made them expectant to receive things on demand, irregardless of where they are. Uber is a perfect example, right? In the past, we have to, hail down taxis or rent a car in advance. And now, we can just, with one click of a button from an application, order the exact car we want to our exact location. If you look at something like Instacart, in the past, it was more of a convenience, but now, due to the current situation with all of us, having a very difficult time getting groceries, services like, Instacart and Amazon allowing us to deliver groceries have become imperative to the day-to-day consumer. And so, our business model, what we, try and help the businesses we do business with, is to adopt the right digital strategy for their organization. And whereas maybe a couple months ago, 5-6 months ago, this was something that a lot of businesses were saying, hey, this is something we need to adopt, and this is something we need to be proactive about. Now, I guess kind of due to the current environment, a lot of businesses have realized, hey, this is actually imperative right now. If we don't adopt a digital strategy, we're going to lose touch with our clients, and we're going to lose touch with all the business that we're maintaining in person day to day. And so what we've kind of determined with a lot of the businesses that we work with is the right digital strategy is to build kind of a one-stop hub where you can manage all these interactions with all the personas in your business. And this means a one-stop destination to not only manage all the interactions with your clients, so all your external interactions, but also a one-stop destination to manage all the interactions with your staff, bankers, and internal team. And so really, this hub becomes a one-stop app for everyone in your business, where everyone can log into your credit union or bank's app and log in and start doing business on demand, irregardless of where they are. And on the back end, you want to make sure everything is encrypted, secure, auditable, and compliant to local regulations. So having worked with quite a few banks, which I'll kind of show you in a little bit, having worked with quite a few financial services companies, we've kind of scoped out the back end of our solution to be very secure. All the data is encrypted, both data at transit as well as data at rest. And we do offer, pretty flexible deployment options. So if you'd like to deploy it in a Moxtra cloud, public cloud, private cloud, etc. And if you have any specific questions, on the back end security or anything like that, please feel free to let me know during the Q&A, and I'd be happy to dive into greater detail. But this is just a quick look at, some of the clients we've already kind of rolled our solution out to. You'll notice quite a few, large financial services institutions. Citibank was actually one of our first clients, specifically in the wealth management space. We've been live with them for about a couple years now. And we've actually rolled it out to their priority tier segment as well. Here in the US, FIS is one of our main partners. And if you guys have any other questions about any of the, other institutions on the slide, again, please feel free to drop a question in the Q&A and I'd be happy to answer. But when we're working with these clients, right, and we help them build these digital apps or these digital solutions for their company, We usually do it in two ways. One is if they're a smaller institution, they don't have an existing app, they don't have any sort of digital strategy. What we can do is we can make them a completely white labeled application that matches their institution's branding, that they can deploy on the App Store and tell their customers, hey, go and download my app, log in and start interacting with me on demand. But for larger institutions like the Citibanks, for example, they usually already have an application or already have some sort of existing core banking system that they're using, and we can actually take our capabilities and integrate it within what they're already using. So in the case of Citibank, they already had their Citibank mobile banking application, and what we did is we took our capabilities that allowed their clients to interact with their RMs on demand and embedded it within the Citibank application. And so this is kind of an overarching look at the solution as a whole. The main idea is to kind of build, a portal, an application for all the personas within your business. So on the left, you can see kind of a client portal application. This is something, a client could access on mobile, tablet, web, etc. And it allows them to log in and engage with their bankers, complete transactions, jump into video conferences, send messages, and even sign documents on demand, which I'll show you in just a little bit as I go through a little bit of a user journey. But you also want that same, kind of on-demand experience for all the other personas within your business. So your tellers, your bankers, your personal relationship managers, they also get the same platform on mobile, tablet, and web, from which they can log in and interact both externally with the clients they need to service, as well as internally with all the other staff and bankers that they need to kind of get business done with. And then finally, you get a management portal from which you can actually manage all these interactions taking place on this platform. So all the interactions, the messages and calls and everything else are timestamped, tracked, and recorded in an audit trail. And you have access to kind of a dashboard module to very quickly view and see how your clients and how your members are interacting with your bankers and tellers. And again, if you have any specific questions about any of this, please feel free to drop a question in the Q&A. And before I kind of dive into the user journey, which will really, kind of walk you through the solution and the feature set completely, I'd like to again touch upon this kind of concept of a one-stop solution and what we mean by that. And the idea is, instead of having, your members, your bankers, and your tellers jump from, multiple different siloed, platforms to complete different things, one platform for e-signature, one platform for meetings, one platform for, internal messaging, one platform for external messaging, one platform for, task management. Rather than having all these, separated, siloed platforms, what we've done is we've consolidated everything into one platform, which we call a one-stop platform. And rather than having this platform be our platform and our branding, what we do is we make it your platform's branding. So in the case of Typhone, when we partner with them, everything is Typhone branded. And in the case of your credit union, everything can be branded to your exact institution. The idea is to consolidate everything into one-stop app branded to your institution's branding. Now I'll just quickly jump through a user journey here, just to show you the solution in action and kind of a sample demo flow. So here you can kind of see a sample client application that we've built out. Over at the top, you can kind of see a couple persistent conversations from which the client is interacting with. So you can see in this case, the credit union member Luis has a branch rep Rahul and a loan officer, Evan, who he's connected with, and he can jump into any of those one-on-one conversations and start messaging them on demand, sharing documents, etc. We also have a couple, group-based conversations down there at the bottom, equities portfolio, for example. This could be, any group conversation that the client's engaged with. Perhaps it's the client and their wife with a couple, bankers, and perhaps, it's a group of clients receiving, personalized advice from a group of RMs. Whatever you'd like it to be, you can kind of set up those group projects, and all the same interactions available one-on-one are available in that group. Client can also jump into meetings on demand from this application. So, if they receive a call or if, at a scheduled meeting time, if they want to jump in start sharing their screen or their video, they can of course do so from any device. And we've also embedded a couple quick links here on the home screen to allow the client to very quickly access, your web page and any other relevant, sources that you'd like them to access. So this is just the basic client homepage. If the client, jumps into that first conversation with Rahul, let's say, and starts messaging them, you'll actually see that, it'll launch into this persistent conversation in which they have, messages, documents, and, a lot of other pieces of content to interact over. So you can see in this case, the relationship manager has actually sent a portfolio statement to the client, this investment plan for 2020. And they're kind of, adding annotations over it, interacting over it. The client has a couple questions about, which positions to reallocate, and the RM is giving them their plan for 2020. At any time, if the RM or the client would like to take it a little bit deeper than the base layer of annotations, they could also go ahead and record a quick video clip like the client is doing from their mobile device on the right-hand side of my screen. In this case, instead of typing out a bunch of annotations and layering them on top of the documents, the client is just recording a simple video clip kind of explaining his question. Maybe he had a couple, questions about which positions to reallocate into or what to do, when he comes in. And the banker can go ahead and just, watch this video clip back, maybe record another one back to him. And it gives them a very powerful way to collaborate even when they're not in a real-time meeting. Moving on, let's say they do have time to synchronize and, they just want to jump into a real-time call. Of course, the client and the relationship manager can go ahead and do so. And this could be, just a one-on-one video meeting, or this could be, a multi-participant video meeting, with maybe 50 participants, with everyone, sharing their video and kind of annotating over content. And so, a couple of the base capabilities in the meeting are screen sharing and file sharing. So, from any device you're on, whether it's mobile, tablet, or web, you can go ahead and share your screen and kind of indicate to the other parties, what you'd like them to see, just like I'm sharing my screen during this webinar right now. And you can also go ahead and share a file, like that file that's being brought up on the mobile device on the right-hand corner. And this file, it can be a portfolio statement, it could be an investment contract, anything at all. All parties have the ability to kind of, layer annotations, use the laser pointer and interact over this document as they're, speaking in real time during the video conference. One of the more powerful capabilities, we're building out that we're actually exploring with Typhone as well is co-browsing within these meetings. So let's say, both the client and the banker would like to, have control over the same screen. Perhaps the banker is helping the client fill out some sort of form or application. They could actually jump into a real-time co-browsing session during which the banker actually takes control of the client's screen, and they can fill out the form in real time together. And of course, we've built in, a couple security features there, like field masking. So, let's say the client comes across a sensitive field, that field can be masked so only the client can see it. These are obviously things we can explore more in detail, but that's definitely one of the more powerful capabilities during the video experience. Moving on from there, let's say after the meeting, the client actually wants to go ahead and move through with the transaction. Maybe they want to, reallocate or, wire some money, invest in a new property, whatever it might be. The RM, the banker, can actually go ahead and prepare a document for the client's signature. And this could be, a singular e-signature, or this could be, a contract you're preparing for 20 people in which you're actually designated a certain signature order. And it works very similarly to any other e-signature platform where you just drag and drop signature fields in. This is, of course, fully compliant with all the e-signature regulatory practices. This is, what all our banking clients are using today. And on the client end, whether they're on mobile, tablet, web, etc., it's a very simple matter of just, entering in your initials and signature, which is saved thenceforth. And then just very simply clicking through the document in each assigned signature field. So you can see, the signature fields are kind of colored to indicate which ones are mine. And as I just click into each of them, my signature, today's date, my name is automatically inputted. So that's kind of the digital approvals flow, allowing your client to seamlessly jump from just a single message all the way to a video conference to even signing a document on demand directly from their mobile app. One of the most kind of premium features we've built in for some of our banking clients is actually enabling them to complete transactions from the app as well. So just in the same way that the client kind of gave their sign off and signed a document, in this way, what we're doing is we're actually presenting a simple card UI to the client for them to give approval on a transaction. And so this could be any of the transactions I was mentioning to you before, reallocation, wire transfer, investment, etc. In this case, the client will go ahead and click approve whenever they'd like to. And what the solution will do is make a quick API call to the back end where the transaction is actually processed. And then a client will receive a notification on the front end on their mobile app stating, hey, this transaction has been approved, and they can go ahead and move on to the next step. Or if that was the last step in the transaction is marked as completed. And so again, if you have any specific questions about this, happy to answer during the Q&A. This is something some of our more advanced banking clients like Citibank have built in. Essentially enabling their clients to actually approve and complete transactions on demand from the same exact platform that they simply message, call, and interact with their banker. And so the idea of this kind of white labeled solution is to bring all these different capabilities that I just showed you, the messaging, the calling, screen sharing, e-signature, file sharing, etc., into one place, one hub, so that both your clients and your internal employees, they don't have to jump in between multiple different apps. They just go to one app, your app, with your branding, and log in and start interacting with you on demand. So in the case of Citibank or JP Morgan or anyone else, it no longer becomes our app. It becomes the Citibank app, which their clients are logging into and interacting with their bankers on demand. And just in the same way that we can kind of offer that white labeled solution, we also offer fully integrated solutions as well, which is what we're of course exploring with Typhone. And because the solution is fully API and SDK based, it can be seamlessly integrated with anything you're already using. And so in the case of Typhone, we're going with a full API integration. And so that's a good overarching look of the solution. I can also jump into like a quick prototype if that would be helpful. But I would like to pause quickly, Josh, and see if you think it would be helpful for me to jump into a prototype, or should we open it up for questions here?
Yeah, Neal, we have a couple of questions that have come in over the course. Why don't we field a few of these, and then if there's a minute or two left, I think it would be great to show off a little bit of the prototype. So the first question is, do you guys offer any chat capabilities for off-hour answers to common questions?
Great question. Yep. So the basic way we handle it is, if you have a persistent relationship manager dedicated to that client, that relationship manager can mark them as out of office whenever they'd like to. So let's say their office hours are 9 to 5 or something like that. They can mark themselves as out of office after that. And the client can receive like a little out of office message like, hey, Michael is unavailable, please leave a message and he'll get back to you as soon as he can. Let's say, your RM is actually going off on vacation for a couple weeks and will be out of office for, quite some time. You could actually go ahead and just pass that client onto another banker for the time being. And that banker could, kind of jump into that same conversation without losing context, service the client as need be. And then when the actual dedicated banker comes back in the scene, he could, kind of be passed back in, and the other banker, the temporary banker, could be, passed back out of the conversation as well. So that's the way we handle it if there's a persistent relationship between the banker and the client, meaning, this client always is interacting with the same banker. Now, let's say, it's not a persistent engagement. Let's say, it's kind of a client is just logging in and kind of getting routed to a pool of bankers, and whichever banker is available, they're kind of being routed to. In that case, it's a lot simpler, right? It's whichever banker is available, they kind of get routed to and connected with. If all the bankers are busy, or if they're trying to contact the bankers outside of office hours, then again, they'll get that same message like, hey, all the bankers are busy, please wait a couple minutes. Or, hey, it's out of office hours, please go ahead and leave a message and we'll contact you at, 8 a.m. tomorrow. But those are kind of the two ways, whether it's persistent or not persistent. And I hope I answered the question there.
Yeah, so just to clarify, so Moxtra does not offer a chat bot that can step in and answer questions if the credit union is not currently staffing the other end.
Yeah, no, thank you for jogging my memory there, Josh. Yes, so we don't specialize in chatbots. We don't make the chatbot ourselves. However, we do play very nicely with chatbots. So we've integrated with chatbots in the past. IBM Watson is one of the ones I know we've integrated with, where the chatbot could kind of service as that front level, just handling the basic customer queries. And then if need be, the chatbot can escalate it to a live RM if it's a too complex of a query for them to handle, or the chatbot can just manage it themselves. So we've definitely done that.
Gotcha. Cool. Thanks, Neal. So one of the other questions I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. So how do you see Moxtra integrating into the Typhone digital banking solution, or quite frankly any digital banking solution, to really support a credit union in their just daily interactions with members, where it maybe isn't a persistent relationship with a banker? Maybe it's literally just me as a member. I'm in online or mobile banking and I have a question, or maybe I'm facing some financial hardship right now and I'd like to talk to somebody about some options. And how do you see that working to open up into like a video session where just a member services representative at the credit union can support me in a more personal manner?
Yes, I totally get it. So a lot of what I've been kind of showcasing is more of the persistent connection, where the banker and the client might already be pre-connected, but all the same interactions that I showed you, the messaging, e-signature, video conference, everything can also be done in, let's say a non-persistent conversation in which the client is just jumping into a pool of RMs and then, being serviced by one of them. And the way this works is that conversation, the client's conversation, is persisted on their end, meaning they see the entire history of interactions they've had with 10 to 15 bankers, let's say, over the last year, and they can scroll back, view any documents, etc. And when they jump into that pool of RMs, let's say they click live chat or live call, they'll automatically get connected with someone and they'll be able to receive all that on-demand service that I just showed to you, the messaging, the calling, the documents, etc. And so at that point, when they're connected, the RM can, either, service them via just the conversation, messaging them, sharing documents, helping them with their portfolio, annotating on top of it. If need be, the RM can say, hey, do you want to just jump into a real-time call right now? Client can say, sure, regardless of whatever device they're on. They can just jump into a real-time call. The RM can start helping them with whatever they're doing. Maybe the client wants to start sharing their screen and the RM can jump in on co-browsing. And then whenever they're done with this session and it's all wrapped up, the RM will get pulled out of that conversation and will move on to the next client to service. But the client still has that persistent stream of interactions to kind of reference back on at a future date. So I hope that answers your question. All the same kind of capabilities that I showed you in the persistent kind of one-on-one between a dedicated banker and RM are also available if you as a client just kind of choose to connect with someone from a pool of RMs. All those same capabilities are available to jump into a call, share your screen, etc.
Gotcha. So we have a couple of other questions, but I think those questions are a little bit more specific and we can reach out post the webinar to answer those. With the final minute or two that we have left, Neal, do you want to just show quickly what you had referenced earlier and then we'll wrap it up?
Sure, definitely. Let me just quickly jump over there then. And I'll just give you guys a very quick look at it here. So we've just spun out, a very basic prototype for Typhone, just kind of showing what the client experience would be, let's say when they log into their branded app. And of course, this branding can be, changed to anything. We've just used Typhone branding for the sake of this. If I go ahead and log in, you'll see I kind of have that same on-demand experience that I was kind of showcasing to you. And if I, jump into this conversation with my banker, I have a, a stream in which he's kind of sharing a document with me for me to sign. We can jump into a call. We can do anything that I was kind of showing you in that user journey. So you can see here in the file section, I kind of have that, that signature doc he's asked me to sign. And in the to-do section here, he's actually set a to-do for me to sign this investment doc. Now, in the same way, we also have, these group conversations as well, as I was speaking to you about. So if I jump into this portfolio discussion, you can see here, this is a group convo with me and Tom and Enrique. And in this conversation, we're actually interacting over my portfolio. You can see Enrique's actually recorded a video clip here explaining something to me, maybe how to reallocate it, etc. And in the same way, that files and to-do section is available, so I can kind of see everything organized and consolidated here in this conversation. We also have a meeting section down here. So you can see I have an investment options meeting scheduled for Jan 31st. If I click into that, let's say the meeting's actually ongoing, I could actually just hop into this meeting on demand. And of course, during this meeting, both parties can share their videos. So you can see Tom and Ben are on video here in the bottom. And we can also jump into kind of a content sharing session. So in this case, someone's brought up a portfolio statement, and we're kind of annotating, viewing it, and giving the client real-time advice during this conversation. And again, to kind of build off of that point that Josh just mentioned, all these interactions I'm showing you here in this prototype, where the client kind of has a dedicated conversation. It could also be just a one-off conversation where the client chooses to connect to a pool of RMs, and they kind of launch into that same kind of messaging experience where they can jump into a video call at any time. Now I know we're kind of running out of time here, so I don't want to take up too much time. I hope that gives a good holistic view of the prototype. And as Josh mentioned, I'm happy to kind of answer questions after the call and set up further meetings as need be.
Great, thank you so much, Neal. We really appreciate you taking the time today to show off kind of what Typhone and Moxtra have been working on. This has been a project that we really accelerated due to COVID-19. And really being able to bring about these high-touch collaboration services through chat and video, and giving you the ability to have that more personal connection to members when actually sitting down at a desk in front of each other may not be possible. So thank you so much, Neal. We'll have this posted on our website shortly for you to download and review at your leisure. If you have any additional questions, would like to see further demos, please reach out to your Typhone account managers if you're a Typhone customer. If not, please feel free to reach out to the Moxtra team directly. Again, Neal, thank you so incredibly much, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
My pleasure, Josh. Thanks for having me here.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.